Sundance, we use TP. That's a master, you call office. That's a master ceremony place that the leader sits in the teepee to run the Sundance. Then others, they can camp around, whatever they can camp is used there to be happy. Yeah, Sundance is 4 days. It's not on the weekend days, no. Dream to follow any days Creator gives you, you camp at that day, yeah. For a while I followed the moon because my grandpa told me, first moon, quarter moon, full moon, and so forth. He told me to follow that, so I follow up. It brought a good Sundance, Every time in a camp, a tribe camps together, what do you call that? Troop camp. Every leadership in that camp, elders is the leadership. When somebody had younger dream, brought to the teepee, they have a special ceremony teepee, and they let that young man tell the story about it, and they follow up what kind of. If that young man dreams about song, young man dreams about drum, like let's go what I talk about. We talk about powwow, dancing, menacing, or hunting, or spiritual. All the whole 9 yards of Creator gives us spiritual. When they dream about, they brought to the teepee to have a ceremony and give back to what he dreamed about it, and that's how they carry to another with it, and then keep it. Yeah. Back in 1977 or 78, I had started dreaming about Sundance. That time my father's still alive, so I talked to him, and he told me about what's given in the Sundance. When your dream comes like this, you have to put it up. Because the Spirit Creator gives you, you have to run the Sundance. So 1983, my first Sundance. I dreamed about four Sundance in a row every year. So I followed that up. And I danced with them in the Sundance too.
At the Sundance, it's different. It's a spiritual dancing we do at the Sundance. Not a power. We dance for the spirits.
The role that the ceremony plays in Stoney life is really, it's impactful in every day, in how we live and how we do things. And for me, it's really a part of my life and what I work to do with my kids, talking to them, even just the names, or with especially my grandkids, speaking to them in the language, using little words that I know, or when we're going somewhere and we're traveling somewhere. We make sure when we come back, like we call our spirit back, or if we've traveled somewhere, because that's another thing that we do within our Stoney culture. We call our spirit back to go with us, because we have that understanding, a holistic belonging, and then also too with just taking care of ourselves and our intention with our words, and say what we mean, and don't make it a whole big long sentence, but just say what you need. And I think that is one thing within ceremony that helps keeps us grounded.
Okay, in a generalized, and the sweat is back in the old days, grandpas they like sweats. They go into sweats. They cleanse themselves. And they take care of people, whatever, themselves. And that's how we begin to follow the sweat way.
Again, the sweat lodge is like what I talk about it. It gives horse sweat, buffalo sweats, medicine sweat, healing sweats, and many other spiritual sweat. We use it as that. We call grandfather rock. The rock that we use in the sweat, we heat it up right and everything. And
Each day when you get a sweat ready, so you prepare yourself, wooden rocks, lit up, and then you go in.
I use many as rock in different ways, different location ways of ceremonies. This buffalo sweat, I use 40 rock. Horse sweats, I use 60 rock. And sometimes you're real sick. For healing sweat, I use 100 rock. And then I use 200 rocks New Year's Eve sweat. I've been doing this since 1978 with my late brother. While you think, one rock is hot, 200 rock is 2 rocks warm. No, I'm just kind of kidding, but it's very, very warm. But again, you believe, you don't feel hardly anything. A spiritualized given, it's a prayer.
Others more better, more energized, and more for your boys. And the person asks if he wants more heart, you splash more heart for that person. But you gotta refuse these people because he wants more harder. When you close the door, blanket down, you acknowledge what you're gonna pray for, you know what you're gonna do. You'll be cleansed, and when you come out, the 4-round sweat, you'll be new person. When they come sweat with you, they bring a sick person, bring into the sweat. And then that's how we sing to doctor for yourself. You gotta come into the sweat, tell the grandfathers what kind of medicine we can use to your body, so they can tell us, so we boil it and we use it.
Let's bring it out to many happen now today's drug and alcohol addiction. I helped them a lot in that way. And some of them, 1 out of 100, there's few that got in a better way, so put that thing away and follow up the traditional sweat, sun dance, and many others, to get healed and to get blessed,
Say say one person is sick, you want to clear her up, at least as much as you can from the sweat, help her out to get her on her feet. Medicine, when you pick it from the land, that's when you boil it and you help the person, what kind of sickness she got or he's got, and you boil it and you give that to him to help it up for you. Special places we get medicines around all the mountains. We get medicines, pick the roots. We go for a day. This root, that root, bear root, horse root, whatever you want. They pick it up, pray for them. And they offer some tobacco first, and then when you take them, you offer tobacco again, and you go.
Some of them, they're very, very indeed, very specialized themselves. They're taken to the spiritual. Okay, I believe what Grandpa Paul says, or our day Paul, they call me. So they asked me for teaching them. So a few I teach them. Not all the whole world, but I teach who believes in ways themselves, wants to learn what I learned, came through. What I grew up, I teach them.
You are a keeper of the sweat. Is that something that was passed down to you from your grandpa?
Oh, my grandpa gave to me, oh yes. He gave to me when I was a little man, like a young man. And then plus his father, he's run all these traditions, what we talk about. He's a keeper too. So my father, he knows all that past. He tells me in gift too, and I follow that. with the song. Yeah.
Something passed down to generations. So you're the only person, only boy who can handle these things. So they give it to you so you can take it and go along with it.
I think the spirituality of the Stoney people has always existed, and in some areas it can be very profound in families when they carry that tradition or that knowledge on, or when they're gifted that. When you go to a powwow and you hear the music, you hear the beat of the drum, you see the children dressed up, you see somebody dancing, it tugs at you, it ignites your spirit, and you have that those endorphins released, and you want to be a part of it. You want to go out there, and you don't know why, but you know you have an affinity to that song or to what's being said or what's being shared there. And I find that a lot within Indigenous spirituality, that we have a connection that may not be understood through science or medical terms, but we'd also be gifted things with dreams and told how to make things or how to do things with dreams. And people think, oh, it's legends or myths, but it's like, no, if I dreamt it, it's an experience I had in my dream state. And so for me, one of the things, I had a dream about a relative, and he was struggling with alcoholism, and all this water was around him and I couldn't get to him. And in the dream, this horse came and helped me, and it was a rainbow horse. And I was going there, and I had these seeds, and I was walking, and all these animals were running. And then I was at a place where I had to climb this tree, and I climbed it, and all the animals were running, and I was wondering what's going on, like what's going on with everything. All the animals are leaving. And then that tree started to break in my dream, and I was on it, and I was thinking, yeah, it's gonna break, I'm gonna fall. And then this horse that always comes came, and he became a part of that tree. He stood up on his hind legs, and he like melted into that tree, and I knew I was okay. And then I woke up. And this was many years ago. And then a few years after, that relative sent me a message, and they wanted to dance again. They were preparing to dance, and they were running and doing what they needed to do to dance. And then at the end of the email, he said, and can you make that outfit? Like, he was telling me the colors and what style and everything, and I knew what he wanted. And then at the end of the email, he said, and can you make it with horses with rainbow colors? And I just about started crying, because I thought he never knew the dream I had. And that dream manifested years later. And so I was really, after that, I was really thankful for that creator or whatever worked itself in that way, that was able to help me to do that for a relative. And since then, I've had other dreams, and I know that people think, well, their religion, or it's not even a religion, their spirituality is based on myths and legends. It isn't, because you can't tell that as that's a myth that happened, because that was something that was dreamt up and that carried forward. And I was so surprised, and I had never told anybody about that dream, but after I knew, well, there are things at play that we don't understand. And so I think when we are allowed that spirituality, or for those that are coming back that maybe they're 60s scoop, or they've been adopted out, or they just were never able to practice it, it really helps as a way of recovery, because they talk about trauma-informed practice now, and they think, oh, having a nice native design room is trauma-informed. It's like, no, it's based on the spirituality and these teachings, and you have to delve back into the history, but understand and how to do it. And so a lot of the work I do, like with doing my social work and my counseling and the different things I do, I try to tie it in with art, spirituality, but also decolonizing those Western perspectives and implement Indigenous ways of thinking, so that aren't so mainstream. Like, people wouldn't think, oh, a dream can tell you how to live life and do it. No, it may not, but it can help in some instances with therapy or art therapy.